Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy today. I'm joined with Betty Esperanza. So, Betty is someone I wanted to have on the pod for so long. She's a keynote TEDx speaker, community builder. That's the least I could say. Artist, humanitarian. She is the person behind one of the coolest foundation I've heard about in the recent years, Skateboards for Hope. You founded that 16 years ago already. That's amazing. And because that wasn't enough, you also recently took the position at GM at the Montreal Students Foundation, which is also incredible. It's a huge responsibility. So
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time today to be with me, Betty.
My pleasure. I mean, anything for kids.
You know what? That we share. I was actually at the Just for Kid ball yesterday.
Yeah.
So it went really well, raised a lot of money. So it's always good to see people coming together um, to make this happen. And the first thing I would like to ask you is where did it all started? Who is Betty? Who was Betty as a kid, as a teenager?
Yeah.
And what brought you to become this amazing person?
Actually, Betty didn't know who she was for many years and tried different things. I could tell you that I tried to fit in. I was a daughter of immigrants, born here in Montreal, but of immigrant parents who are trying to survive. I tried different things, different sports, different artistic, cultural things. I tried to excel at school, but I had a hard time with math. It's funny because my father was the mathematician, so it's
No way.
yeah, it skipped a generation. But what I understood was I was more on the arts side. I was extremely creative and innovative, and it took maybe 30 years for me to figure that out. Throughout different career choices, different even educational choices. I mean, I when I finished high school, I went to work immediately, and then I went back to school. I tried psychology, tried political science, sociology. I'm very attracted, even till today, to finding out how things work and how people work and how to make them feel better. I like fixing things. I consider myself a fixer, and that's unusual to say about usually like in the business world. But the minute there's a problem, I love the creativity on how to solve it, and I never try to go the easy way out. I put myself through pain to find an innovative way to come up with a solution that is pleasant, not just easy. But yeah, I mean, I started Skateboards for Hope only by chance. Just to give you a quick idea of how it happened, I went to Cuba with my children, my two boys. We rented a casa particular, because that's what they were not called Airbnbs, in Buena Vista, the city, which is like 40 minutes from Havana. It's like going to Laval almost, give you perspective. Well, maybe a little further. But we rented there, and then my boys were out playing with other Cuban boys, and I decided to take their skateboard and just discover the area. And I fell upon a bunch of kids playing baseball, and I showed them how to skateboard. And one boy in particular was so good that I decided to give him my skateboard. And that boy became the number one skateboarder over the years in Cuba. And I had
No way.
promised him that, yeah, and I promised him that I would bring back more skateboards. What a promise. That was ridiculous. I can't believe I made a promise. And I said I had to keep that promise. And of course, I came back to Montreal. It was too hard to get brand new skateboards
Yeah.
so I decided to recycle them. And I just went and created a Facebook group. Remember at the time, like 15 years ago, when you created them, you couldn't get out of them. So I would put all the skater friends I had and everyone that I could think of that was in that action sports. And I just said, hey, give me your used gear, your used skateboards, your used bearings. And that's how it started. Now, like, did I think it was going to become a foundation? No. Did I think I could solve a problem? No. I think the desire to to please or to make kids happy was my motivation. And by seeing how happy these kids were, because I did travel 3, 4 times a year, because at the time I was working for Air Transat.
Okay.
So the facility to get there and bring, duffel bags of skateboards, I had that I was very lucky, and I didn't have to pay. You know what I mean? Like, so I just showed up and gave out the skateboards and then built the community there. And Yohani grew up to become the organizer, the tour guide, the leader. He became a mentor, recognized even by his own government. So,
Wow.
I mean, you don't know by giving, a gift, a random gift to someone, how that can impact their life. And when I say I want to break the cycle of poverty, what I really mean is I want to build community where kids or youth are getting together and helping each other move forward or achieve dreams, because it's not true that money or products or service will help. You need to be in a group of people who want to have the same thing as you, and that's how you work together, you know?
You know what? It's crazy to think, and even myself sometimes, I'm surprised myself to judging yourself or ourselves to do random act of kindness. Why are we feeling bad sometimes about doing that? When we know deep down, once you did it, you just feel so good. You don't expect anything from it. And to hear that story is just so inspiring, because that to me was just a random act of kindness you did that turned out to be one of the greatest lesson one can have, and kickstarted something that became your career, what you're known for, and something truly amazing. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for sharing that. It's really
Well,
cool.
and I've given a lot of conferences and workshops in schools all around Montreal and internationally. And yes, I did a TED talk, and I got to meet Oprah. And there's a documentary on Radio Canada about me in Cuba. But honestly, the connections that we make on a human level with youth is where it happens. Like, can you imagine, like, somebody does something special for you, and it makes you feel special, and that memory is what you carry onto the everything that you do. And I think that, you know what, that I can say happened to me. There was a neighbor when I was growing up, and she did something really nice for me. She saw that I loved to draw, and we didn't have any money for charcoal or paint, or, like, the art supplies were very expensive.
Mm.
And she went and she gave me some art supplies to encourage me to continue drawing. And I can tell you that that gesture, and I was maybe, what, 10, 11 years old, it enabled me to feel special. That's, when you carry it all your life. It's like maybe a good example for teenagers is their favorite high school teacher who makes them feel
Yeah.
special. And they said one phrase, one thing, or you're the best, or I think you're special, or whatever. They said they made a compliment, or they made you feel like you were on top of the world. You carry that in your memory all
Mhm.
your life.
Yeah.
So I think as adults, we forget that there are times in our lives when we're young that changed us. And we have to try to remember and carry those memories when we're faced with challenges, whether it's financial, emotional, partnerships or breakups, or, even I mean, people are affected by world news, like
Yeah.
they're the fear or the the disconnection of things. I think we have to go back to what made us feel good and try to go get back that feeling. Oh yeah, okay, I could tell you I don't wanna go skateboarding anymore at 63, but, you know what I mean? Like, the feeling of skateboarding, I want to spread around to the kids who've never tried it or who need help, more, I guess, help to achieve their goals. But personally, I've figured out now I can do other things than, than skateboarding. I can get involved in maybe dragon boating, which is sitting down,
Yeah.
not falling off my skateboard. But I think we have to adjust a little bit our what we ask of ourselves, and then move to but remember to have fun, to be playful, and also how it feels to be in a group of people who love the same thing, like share the passion.
I agree. And, one thing we see from now is um, the population, generally speaking, here in North America and Europe is the same. We have declining birth rate. Immigration really helps us, maintain a society that works. And people undervalue, I think, the capacity for sports, arts, to share meaningful moment, especially when we're a kid, to create these boundaries that makes us feel part of something.
Yeah.
I deeply regret what social media is doing to our youth now. I think it's horrible in certain ways because it gives you the impression you're part of a group where in reality, you're just isolating yourself. Um, what is your take on that? And do you see a difference with people who are part of Skateboards for Hope, people who interact with your organism?
Yeah, actually, the Minister of Education now is banning, as of September, officially, all cellulars. Great idea. Why do I believe in that? First of all, we all know, as Gen X and after, who didn't have cell phones, um, we didn't rely on being part of the global picture. We were more in
Yeah.
a micro world. So we would compare ourselves to our best friends or our classmates, which is enough as it is. Um, I think sports and obviously the arts develop cognitively and mentally, all children. We all know that all the statistics are out there. I'm not going to go and reiterate them, but I can tell you that when children are doing sports, they are learning about themselves. They're not learning to compete with someone. They're learning where are their limits,
Yeah.
how they can push them, what makes them feel good, what doesn't make them feel good. I think learning about and pushing your limits are more important than anything else. And also how to get along with others. If it's a team sport, I agree. Then you have a position. You're limited to that position, but you rely on your sports mates to help you, whether it's in soccer, baseball, football, hockey,
Yeah.
whatever. But when it's an individual sport, martial arts, skateboarding, even golf,
Yeah.
these sports, what happens is you challenge yourself. What does that mean? You can only improve. You cannot go backwards. You
No.
can only improve. And not having the cellular in your hand every 2 minutes and relying on instant gratification actually helps your brain develop. I would say the same thing for adults. We are too reliant on what others are doing and knowing, generally speaking, on a superficial level, what is happening in the world. I can say that I can do without what's going out in the States. I try to limit myself as well,
Yeah.
the type of information that I'm receiving, to limit myself to the negative information. Yes, I believe we should be involved in the global, how do you say, bien-être, wellness of the
Yeah.
world.
Wellness.
But
Yeah.
come on, guys, let's be realistic. How much of it can we change? We should change us first, our family, our children, our friends, maybe our community. That's enough already. And if everyone is doing the same thing, we will achieve the same goal of a little bit getting harmony. But having kids participate in after school programs or extracurricular activities is extremely healthy and essential. And we know that. And now with that, there's the Minister of Education has cut out like $200 million from the budget. Of course, what do they do? First points they cut out is the future. The kid, we're not an expense. Children are not an expense. They're an investment.
I agree.
So I would tell people, even families that are having a hard time, especially single moms, they wonder how are they going to get their children into extracurricular activities. Well, there are foundations like Fondation pour les élèves de Montréal that does coding, Place au Français in the camps. These are more on educational, but
Yeah.
still it's extracurricular activities, and it's free for children. I work for a foundation, not only my Skateboards for Hope, but I'm the founder. Everything is free. We do not charge one person, one child, anything. It has to be free. Why? Because we have to give them a chance to meet up to the same
Level the playing field. Yeah.
way. Otherwise, we are keeping people back. And
Right.
when you said immigrants, of course, 45% of our population in
Yep.
schools are immigrants. They're learning French. They have to adjust to the culture. They have to have a sense of belonging. How do you do that? Through
And,
sport.
and it's our job. Like I so
Yeah.
agree with you. It is our job to make them the Canadian we want for our future.
Well, we have to give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
We have not only open doors, give them a chair to sit at the table, and to participate. And yes, it costs money, but it's a small price to pay than to have a disparity between, the middle class and lower class. I think we should be helping everybody achieve these goals, and
Agree.
especially children. Especially, they need us more now than ever in this post-pandemic world of everyone is like a little bit fearful and it's funny because today I had a conversation with someone about the pandemic, saying that, did you notice that the pandemic increased the value of everything all over the world? Our rents are up, our butter is up, the gas is up, everything's up. It's sort of like destabilized the economies, and it made people richer or poorer. It didn't help everyone get to the middle.
No.
And now we're struggling to help. The only way to do it is invest in education, invest in children, invest in young families so they can support their families to be able to do all the things that we want in the future. I'm at the cusp of baby boomer. And I don't consider myself retired. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not retiring at all. Why? Because I want to make sure every child that I can encounter gets that chance to fulfill their dreams, whether it's here in Canada or in Cuba or in Uganda or other places.
Yeah, anywhere. To be
Anywhere.
entirely honest, it could be the States, it could
Everybody
be
will
Australia.
get a chance. Yeah.
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 I agree. It's not, unfortunately, I think geography and race is totally irrelevant
That's
when
right.
it comes to kids in this context. We don't choose the family we're born in. We don't choose our financial, capacity, but we certainly is impacted. We're impacted by it as a kid.
Of course.
So like you said, to level the playing field and give a chance to everyone is amazing. Betty, I would like to, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs and other type of people who listen to this pod, I would like to bring you back to the moment you were in the corporate world for Transat or trying different things, to the moment when you said, you know what, I'm going to do this full time and I'm going to commit myself to this. Because the way I see it is, some people are lucky to find something they like enough to make it a job. And some people throughout their life are just privileged, and you're one of them, to make what I call their calling, what they do full time. And of course, you don't want to retire. I can imagine that, right? It's your calling. It's what you live and breathe.
Yeah.
Everybody who meets you can tell that. So I would like to understand that mindset and how. And I found it great because you were not 8-year-old knowing you would do that.
No.
So tell me.
Actually, when we went to high school, we had to choose whether we wanted to do social sciences or science. And my math wasn't good enough. But my poor father, he was so disappointed. He wanted me to become a doctor. Like all immigrant parents, want their children to become doctors because they don't want their kids struggling like they did. But honestly, like, I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be a doctor, great, but you don't have to please your parents.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was, because I went into social sciences, I got to learn about other things, humanities, more sociology and whatever.
Mm.
But when I went to CEGEP, I was very lucky. There was a women's psychology class, like the psychology of women. It's kind of weird, like women, like why? And it wasn't just feminism or anything like that. It was really like something that empowered me. And part of it was philanthropy, how women are more likely to be philanthropic because of our maternal instincts. Like it's in our DNA to give, right? Or to service,
Mm.
not just society. And it was an interesting topic in my early 20s. And at that time, that teacher said, "Why don't you volunteer for for an organization?" And you don't, because I told her, I go, "Oh, I don't know how to do that, or I don't know how, I'm not good enough." And I was, of course, I would in my 20s, I was like, "Well, I have to learn that first before I could try it." That was the mentality. Even today, like a lot of people will stop themselves from doing
Yeah.
something because they think they have to have a certificate or experience. But actually, the best way to do it is volunteer for an organization. Find the job that you want to try, because guess what? They can't fire you. They just can help you. And that's what happened to me. I ended up working for the Canadian Cancer Society. Imagine this. I wanted to do events. I didn't even know how to do events. And they put me in charge of a group of people. And they said, "Oh, you want to volunteer? Sure. It's 10 hours a week, da da da." And I did it. And as I got to be surrounded by real people who understood this job, who were telling me what to do, I became an expert. Within 3 years, everybody knew my name. "Oh, Betty knows how to put an event together."
That's
And
so
that's
amazing.
how I got into event planning, touring. I ended up touring with Jean-Guy Moreau, doing a tour, like selling tours for, Jerry Boulet, like
No way.
Coloc.
No
Yeah,
way.
like it's crazy when you think about it. Like all those, and all that came from volunteering at a foundation that had expertise, that had people already on their board, but needed volunteers to do the little work. They delegated so much stuff that in the end, I ended up becoming the leader, the president of the volunteer board. And we raised, doing everything. I had 10 people at one point at the Relais pour la Vie in 2003. And I was like, literally, we raised $500,000.
That's
And we did
amazing.
everything, a 24-hour event. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. And I was the leader of that, of just doing volunteer work. And that's when it clicked. I went, "Oh, maybe I could do this full time." And in 2004 was when I gave, it's actually not 16 years, but 20 years that I gave my skateboard to Johanny Perez. By the way, you can look him up. And and then what happened was, from there on, I was like, maybe I'll end up doing this full time. But of course, I have children, I have bills to pay. So I always tell people, if there's something you're passionate about, make it your side hustle, make it your 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
We waste a lot of time doing, I don't know, watching TV, maybe going, now we waste it for sure
Oh,
on
yeah.
Instagram, on doom scrolling, what they call it. That's 100%. But put your energy into something that will change. And if you want to learn a new skill, tell them, "I want to learn this." By the way, I have mentored at least 1,000 kids, students, since then.
That's so amazing.
So what happens is, they have zero experience, and I go, "It's okay. I'm going to show you the ropes." That's how you do it. That's how you transform lives. Like every year, I've been very lucky. The Canada Summer Jobs gives me 1, 2, or 3 students to mentor, to become event planners, marketing and communications, outreach and community development, research and marketing. Guess what? These students that come out of university, they end up getting jobs full time in very important foundations, because they have been mentored for 6 to 8 weeks, intensely, like 40 hours a week. by us. So what happens is they're ready to give back to the community that they're going to be working for. So I think we could all do that ourselves. We can participate and volunteer and give back. And it's not, it could, if you like accounting, then do accounting. You know,
Yeah.
don't worry that you don't like to talk to people. It's okay. I love my introverts, you know? Oh, I love him. I go, oh, you want to do budgets? Okay, here. You know what I mean? Give them something. But most foundations are desperate for good-hearted volunteers. And I say that's how you transform your life. If you have to keep your job, I get it, because you have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But do give time to the
Something you care about.
and then eventually maybe there is an opening because you've contributed for 3-4 years you end up sitting on the board of directors, or you ended up helping with a certain aspect of the foundation and becoming an expert in that. And you can apply for jobs. It's not as, of course, payant, or, it's not at the same level. I think it's I would say on average, it's a $10,000 less. If they're paying 50,000 somewhere in corporate, you're getting 40. It's not a huge difference, but there is like that barrier. A lot of people want to make a certain amount of money. Well, in that case, in philanthropy, it's harder. It is harder.
Yeah, definitely. That being said, when you taste it, often your definition of success changes well, right?
Yes.
Because you see the direct impact your day-to-day have on other people's lives. And I think that's for people who have not experienced it. You don't need millions to be a philanthrope.
No.
You just helping, that makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Betty, it probably evolved throughout the year. What is your definition of success today?
To be as authentic as possible. I try to, when I do something, I'm not impulsive. I really do think about what I'm going to say, to who I'm talking to the groups that I'm talking to. I'm very sensitive to that. As the years go by, we become even more sensitive, but not to the point where I'm politically correct. I am not politically correct. I couldn't give a shit. Excuse me.
I like it.
I think we have to have opinions. I don't mind if someone disagrees with me. It doesn't mean I love them less. There's nothing wrong with disagreement or not having the exact same opinion. But I believe that change comes from being authentic, being true to yourself, and actually putting action to your words. A lot of people talk. There's a lot of bullshitters out there telling you that they're going to do this and that, and zero effort is made. They just want to sound fantastic. Good for you. But I tend to gravitate to people who actually have actionable, results. And, just like when we met like in such a weird circumstance that just the talk that we had in less than 5 minutes was explosive. It was energetic. It was, you know what I mean? Those are the moments I look for. And it's not just about synergy or chemistry. Sometimes it's timing. You're in the right place at the right time, and you say the right thing, and then life, it just changes, and that's what I look for. I mean, I don't have a formula for people. I say, work hard. You know what? The old adage of working hard does work. It is true.
It is.
It is. If you work hard, I get it. Sometimes the solution doesn't come to you. The money doesn't come to you. You might have to let go of your project. I've done that in my life. I went bankrupt. I know exactly what it is to have a business and then try, find advice.
It doesn't work. No.
It doesn't work. Whatever reason, it's not your fault. You have to sometimes let go of your dream to make room for a new dream. And that's what happened to me in Saint-Sauveur. I was the owner of a boutique. Everyone from all over the world came. People knew who we were. We were selling like a Esprit line and whatever that nobody had in the boutiques. And then, the October crash came, blah, 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 stock market. and I cried my eyes out because I thought that was my life. Oh my God, was I wrong? I would have been stuck behind a boutique for 25 years
Yeah.
in working 7 days a week. That's not a life.
No.
My life changed when I went bankrupt because I moved to Montreal. That's what happened. My move from Saint Sever to Montreal with my kids completely changed my life. And it only went uphill. And that's sometimes a bad thing is a good thing, you know? And I think that's what people have to understand, that there's no cookie cut formula. I love watching other people succeed and they tell you, oh, I succeeded because of this. And you can agree with them, but you cannot imitate or how do you say, uh, uh,
Replicate.
replicate exactly what they did for
Yeah.
you to have the same success. We are not in the same time. Things change. There's economically things change. People's, attention changes. Look at how we're all like, you
Yeah.
know, we're all like how do you say, distracted from being focused. And so, yeah, that pretty much, I'm going to tell you, you know what? Do what you think is right. Pray that it's good. And if not, it's okay because something else is coming. That's what I say, you know?
You're absolutely right. Um, whether you start a business or you work for a nonprofit, there's no such thing as instant gratification.
Yep.
You're gonna go through ups
Oh, yeah.
sometimes, a lot of downs, and you're gonna build that resilience. And you got to celebrate every little victory because it's gonna be a long road.
Yeah. Well, you're a business person who understands that. And a lot of people I'm assuming who are listening have been through those hard points in their life. But I think the focus should be on, I believe in what I'm doing. And also learn patience and never give up. Like I used to tell a lot of my uh, students that would work for me, they would, I make them, here's what I do. It's it's really funny because I go, you're going to make some phone calls to people, cold calls that you've never talked to. You're going to ask them for donations. Oh, I don't know how to do that. Oh, what if they say no? I go, they're not saying no to you personally. They're saying no to what you're offering. And that's something that you have to learn, that when you have a no in front of you, the person doesn't dislike you. And you should not make it an ultimatum. You should say, you know what? I understand that you're not able to help me now. You have to learn to talk to people. And I would tell the students, I go, because they didn't like doing that. They didn't like it at all. They're like, oh,
Of course.
nobody gave me anything. I worked all day. I did 5 hours of phone calls. I called out 200 people. I go, I know. But you know what? When you're going to get that one person who's going to say yes, it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
I go, give it a couple of days. And then eventually they do get a yes. And all of a sudden their attitude changes. Oh my God, they gave us a $50 donation. Oh my God. And I'm like, how's it feel? So that's the feeling you have to get every time somebody says yes. But you know what? You have to keep that feeling even when they say no.
Yeah, you got to hold on to it.
You have to hold on. I mean, come on, guys, stop putting your hands up in the air and giving up. And that's a big lesson in life for children, for youth, for adults, for everybody, like stop being so like doomed, oh my God, they said no. So what? They're allowed to say no.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Betty, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I would like you to share with you a bit more about where people can get information about your platform, Skateboard for Hope, and also the Montreal Students Foundation. So please share with us where can people get more information.
All right. Like you can Google us for sure. Skateboards for Hope is on Instagram, Facebook, website, and we answer all inquiries. And then for Fondation pour les élèves de Montréal, it's fondationélèvesmtl.ca. So that one you can also find on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and their website. You can I don't know if you're going to post anything up, but they can email directly if they want.
Okay.
And if you Google, you'll probably end up finding my phone number. I will probably answer the phone.
All right.
Not afraid if it says, when you says,
Only call Betty if it's for a donation.
yeah. Well, would be nice, but if you want to help, that too, we
Yeah,
love
yeah.
getting help at our events. Almost every second weekend, there's an event somewhere, so we're happy to have people come to our events.
Betty, you're a great source of inspiration. Thank you for all the work you do, and it's great to have people like that on the pod to talk about, business is one thing. It's great. We need businesses. That's how society work, but we need a lot more people like you to help, especially
Thank
youth,
you.
in my opinion. So
And to all the listeners, just know that you are enough and you can do it all. Just do it. You know what I mean? Have fun also while you're doing it.
thanks for that,
Right.
Betty.
You're welcome.